All right, it is 6 o'clock. We are in the City Hall Council Chambers, and this is the City Plan Commission. It is May 2nd, 2023. Next item on the agenda is minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
it.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is I'd like to welcome our new member, Allie Hinkleman. She's a smart young lady, and we'll have a good time with her on the commission.
As we always do.
As we all-
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right. Let's see. Oh, we'll have a public hearing. Tom, you want to read it?
This is the notice that was posted on April 10th, 2023 and signed by Lori Anderson, Long, the city clerk. Notice of public hearing. All persons interested will be given an opportunity to be heard at a public hearing to be held by and before the City Plan Commission of the City of Merrill, Wisconsin, commencing at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023 in the City Hall Council Chambers, 1004 East 1st Street, Merrill, Wisconsin, on the following proposed matter to wit. 1. Brian Lee, 100 North Polk Street, requesting rezoning from public to business under Merrill Municipal Code Section 113.428 from 100 North Polk Street in the City of Merrill, Lincoln County, Wisconsin. Legal described as PIN number 251-3106-141-0050. Anyone having any questions regarding the hearing should contact zoning administrator Darren Boggle at 536-4880, who was dated April 10th.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to open the hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Have a motion and a second to open the public hearing. Any discussion? All those in favor of opening the public hearing signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now open. And is there anyone here to, well, Darren, you want to explain first the purpose of the hearing?
Currently, the property is zoned public, and it is a former church. The applicant applied for a business rezoning that is the closest commercial zoning to this property. As you can see from the application, they have listed the possible use of being a museum. That is all the information that I have for them. I'm not sure if they're attending by phone this evening or if they're attending. They were sent proper notice.
They were proper.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody here to speak for or against the rezoning of the property?
Well, I'm just wondering how it's going to affect the real estate, you know.
You have to speak into a microphone, so.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, state your name and address, please.
Okay, Barb Emmerich, 109 North Polk Street. And I'm just wondering how it's going to affect the real estate taxes on the properties, you know, around that area.
There shouldn't be any effect on it.
And so, to rezone from public to business, does that mean, of course, there's going to be more traffic activity, correct? And to rezone to business, I don't quite understand why he wants to rezone to business. What's the purpose? Or what's the benefit to him?
The public zone is for public entity type properties only, so schools, churches,
Okay.
things of that nature.
Mhm.
This would be a private endeavor, so it would have to be zoned business in order to do that.
Okay, so does that mean that he'll be charging, you know, for a profit, you know? I mean, a museum,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was hoping, the reason that they're noticed so that they could be here tonight
Mhm.
to answer those questions for you, but I could not answer that for you, no.
okay. So when does this get approved, or, I mean, how does it get passed, or?
It goes through this body and then it goes to the common council.
Oh.
Anybody else here to speak for or against the hearing?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we've looked at this property before and there was concern about it deteriorating. I'm happy to hear that someone's taking ownership of the property, and to me that tells me it's gonna not deteriorate any further. I'm real curious what he's gonna use it for. Parking, I don't know that answer. It was a church, must have been some parking there, correct? Anyone know?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it's the shared parking lot between the library and the church.
It's, is it the white church or the brick?
No, it's the brick
The
church.
brick church.
Okay.
So there's that shared parking.
Yeah, we just repaved all that, so it's good parking there, so, yeah, that shouldn't affect the neighborhood at all.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad to see the building used for something. I'm curious, you know, I'm a history buff myself, and I kinda like it, but,
Yeah.
I guess before the council meeting, we'll attempt to get more information. But, I'm in favor of today, you know, passing it to the council.
Yeah.
Anybody else here to speak for or against the project?
Mayor, I have one question. When did the city take over that parking lot?
We repaved it, we have an agreement with the,
There's an agreement with the present owner as far as 13 out of the 48 spaces as far as use of that. That's one detail that'll have to be worked out with whoever's purchasing.
Because at one time, if the city didn't plow it, we got charged for plowing it.
Now it's the other way around.
Everything that was east of the islands was part of the church.
Well, it's about the back of the stalls on the church side is where the property line is. It's not east of the island. And there's an agreement in place that they pay, like you said, 13/48 of the maintenance bills and plowing. We took it upon ourselves 2 years ago when we paved it, to pave the whole thing. Was it last year?
last year.
We paved the whole thing rather than cutting it off there. The people that did own it, we reached out to them and no response. So we paved the whole thing at our cost with the understanding that we do use that.
As does the school for pickup.
Correct, and in the agreement, the lease agreement, or the parking lot agreement, I should call it, there is terms in there as far as them using it on Sunday mornings exclusively and us being able to use it outside of those times. And that's my concern, and I guess, after we close this meeting, we got more discussion.
Mr. Mayor, I do have a question. Is this a new owner? Because if my memory serves me correctly, there was a similar application a fair number of years ago for that an owner bought it and was going to do something even similar to what this person, is it the same person? Is it a different entity?
Different person.
Okay.
That person never followed through with anything, did anything, and as far as I understand, he sold it to this party.
This committee had approved the rezoning from public to business at that time with a condition that within 6 months that previous owner would have to bring in a plan of what they were going to do. The previous owner, they actually moved some people in there without any approval, and we ended up having to move them out. And I'm not sure who the new owner is. I looked on the tax roll before the meeting, and it's still under the old owner's name, so I'm not sure what the agreement is for transfer.
Yeah, that's where my confusion was, because I thought we had addressed this once before.
I think they were trying to Bernard County.
Yeah, from California.
Right.
They had a couple different ideas. They wanted to put a dwelling in there at first. And
Right.
But it's gone through, I've had conversations with multiple people about it. And the holdup always comes when they contact the state to find out what they have to do to remodel it for change of use, because and I was involved with the state a little bit with that, going through that with the previous owner. And then there's been some talk of single-family homes in there, and the way the state looks at that is if you turn that into a single-family home, it's like it was never there. So it has to meet all today's requirements, including the energy code. So therein lies the problem with converting this property to anything other than a church, what it was originally built for.
Mr. Mayor, you want to close the meeting and then we'll kind of give you our opinions, or how does that?
Did you, did Lori or Mike, did you want to say anything?
I just came to listen to,
Yep.
you know, that's,
All right, we'll entertain a motion to close the hearing if there's no further comment.
I'll make a motion. Close the hearing.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to close the hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion on the hearing.
Is there a motion to approve or?
Is there, yeah. I mean, I guess I have concerns that we have no plan moving forward again. And that is, I would make a motion to approve the rezoning with the same caveat as before. They have 6 months to present us a plan of what they're gonna do with it, what the parking lot agreement is gonna be, things like that. So I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the rezoning with the caveat that within 6 months, the owner presents us a plan of what he's going to do with it, and the parking lot agreement is still in place.
That has to come back to this
And
commission.
then it comes back to this commission once the plan is submitted to what the new owner is proposing to do with it.
I have just something for the audience, because we have some new people here. Darren, can you tell us if this would be rezoned to business, what exactly can the new owner do with it so that folks around the neighborhood know what we're dealing with?
Basically, it'd be anything that's permitted in the business zone.
Okay.
So any type of retail, anything like that, community centers, wedding halls, things like that, anything permitted in a business zone with the proper approvals from the state, obviously,
Okay.
and the city.
Much as I'd like to see that place used and maintained, I think the location, we approve one business and it turns into something else, and it turns into something else that we don't want it to be. I think we're opening a can of worms here. I think it's something that should stay kind of where it is, and if it cannot be sold, maybe it's turned into a parking lot. It's not the best location for a business with the school there and the library parking lot. I think we're gonna run into problems down the road.
I think that's when it comes back to this committee with a plan. We can approve or disapprove the plan, once we have something to talk about, but.
If it's in fact a museum, it's a perfect location.
Until it isn't, and then it's already zoned business, and then they do something else, and that's my concern. I agree with you. There's something, a niche that might be able to be done here, but I don't know if it could be. Can they do it in a conditional use permit rather than a rezone? Probably not in public.
Well, you can do a conditional use in whatever zone you want. Everybody that I deal with on this property does not want to go the extra mile to do what they need to do with this property. There was a reason that the church moved out. And nobody wants to dig deep enough into it to find out if it is valuable to be saved or not. Everybody just sees a property that they think they can pick up cheap and go from there.
So if it was a wedding venue and they got married there, would that qualify as a church?
No. Yeah, based on use, in a business zone, you're not required any off-street parking if you're 12,000 square feet or less. But depending on the use, whatever is over 12,000 square feet in that building, they would have to provide you off-street parking. And that's where we run into issues with the library parking lot.
motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carries. Next, we have discussion of conditional use form, application form.
I had asked to put this on the agenda. If you remember in some of our previous conditional use discussions, the committee seemed like it did not have enough information and would like more items as far as aesthetics, elevations, what things are gonna look like, site plans, things like that. My question to the committee is, would you like those types of things added to the application form? So you have that when it comes time to review.
In my opinion, I think that as much information as we can put on this form, the better, so that people know and what they have to do to come here.
Do you
I
have
would
a-
agree.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Do you have a proposal, right?
I wanted to get a direction from the committee. It's gonna be easy to do. I'll add things like site plans and elevations and aesthetic things, because that seemed to be a big area of discussion from the committee.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would show a little more commitment to what they're requesting
I mean, there's often we're adding caveats to the applications, and had that been in there earlier, we wouldn't have an extended discussion. Not that the discussion isn't appropriate, but we would know first, right up front.
Yeah, I agree. I think that as much information as we can put out there for the individuals so they know. I mean, we've had this discussion internally here with a lot of different permits and forms that are gonna be coming forward, and we're gonna be changing and putting a lot more information out there for that, so.
But it's also good for the public.
Right, but that's why, I mean, just so everybody knows what's expected of them when they fill out an application and what the next steps are.
Well, I'm talking about the neighbors.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yep.
Neighbors know what they're getting.
Yep.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Would it be proper to put that on the agenda for next meeting and have a proposal ready for us to review?
You can have one, yeah. Next time we meet, the building inspector, zoning person will put one together and put it in the packet for review. We all good with that? Okay. Next is the approval of a final plat for Church Mutual's first edition, aka Johnson Street. You can see in the packet there was the lots. If I remember right, the first three were approved right away in the map.
Yeah, they're part of a CSM.
And then lots 4 through 8 now will be added to the.
Yeah, it's just incorporating everything into a plat.
Correct.
We'd be looking for a motion to forward it to council for final plat approval.
I'll make the motion for discussion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. The only discussion I have is that it appears that 3 more houses are being constructed, actively being constructed, in addition to the 2 or 3 that are already. Are there 2 starting now or 3 starting?
There's 2, and there's 2 that are, one's complete, one is nearly complete, and there's 2, one has got just a foundation in, and we issued another permit for another one
The
today.
3rd one was promised to be constructed, so now out of 8 lots, you have 6 committed to build. Is that where we are?
Well, we've got 4 that have been permitted so far.
But it looks like there's going to be 6.
He's clearing and doing some prep work.
Right, lots 4 through 8, in order to get the earthwork to balance, he has cleared all those lots off to the south. And I did talk to him the other day, he's got 4 people interested, and one of them may be in lot 1, so we're gonna get the electric moved yet this year. And so we'd have 6 out of the 8 lots more than likely built on this year.
Okay, thank you. But the
Just-
motion is just for the plat.
The plat, right. Just so, Ally, so you're kind of up to date on this.
Sure.
There's on lot 1, there was a electrical line that ran underground there.
Okay.
And that's why we were kind of hoping that'd be the last lot to be, because we have to pay to have the line removed, I guess.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
just so you're aware. So we have a motion and a second to send the plat to council for approval. Any further discussion?
Question. Between lots 6 and 7, 8th Street right away, does that stop at that lot line or does that go all the way through?
Stops at that lot line.
Why isn't that being blotted out all the way up to,
Because we didn't get any more property. We wanted that to be in there so we could expand further to the east. If we do get more lots or land available from Church Mutual. Right now, that's all they agreed on was that,
The front end.
whatever's 135 feet off the road down.
other than, well,
Well, there's nothing in there right now. Everything's gonna be fronted out with Johnson Street. They're not gonna be
It's not gonna be
improved at this time.
okay. 10th Street's the same thing?
10th Street, well, that's north of these lots. We don't have any extension up there. That would go right into their parking lot. Well, south side of their parking lot, just a little. But that is right on the, lot 1 would be on the south line of any future 10th Street right away.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That'll be forwarded to council. Public comment period. Public comment period. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We are adjourned.